In a recent class, one of my wonderful students asked a great question. Is it possible to keep a user from entering in the same item twice in a column? In this case, the prevention of placing the same purchase order number in the same PO number column of a table. Luckily for that student, the answer is a resounding yes. Now, there are multiple ways to solve this problem. Feel free to download the sample file, step-by-step instructions, and VBA code for the bonus part of this video if you'd like to follow along. If you download the solution file from the link in the video description, I've included detailed instructions for each of these processes with screenshots. So this way you know exactly where to place values, and you can even copy-paste this information to save typing. Our first example will focus on a fixed range of cells, so there's no anticipation that this range is going to grow. But then we'll look at a more dynamic option where if the user adds more records to the table, the exclusionary behavior grows with that table expansion. In both of those cases, these will just be plain tables. Then we'll look at how to assign this behavior to a proper data table. And this is the preferred method because if the table grows or shrinks, the behavior grows and shrinks with the table. And if you're interested in a bit of automation for this process, I've created two VBA macros. One that will allow you to click a button and automatically assign it to a range based on the column that your cursor is sitting in, or the other macro that will prompt you for a column letter. You can type that letter in and then assign the behavior to that column. We'll begin by assigning this exclusionary behavior to a fixed range of cells. Here I have a table with just a single column called PO number. I'll highlight the cells where PO numbers will be entered. Next, we'll go up to Data, and in the Data Tools section, we're looking for the button that says Data Validation. In the Data Validation dialog box, we'll set the Allow option to Custom, and in the Formulas, we're going to enter this formula. Now, if you look closely, the COUNTIF function is looking at the same range that I highlighted, B2 through B20. If you would like to account for expansion in that table, you can increase this to say B2 through B200 or 2000. Just pick a number that defines a range that you feel you won't exceed. Now, some people would want to put something like B through B, which selects the entire 1 million cells in that column. That does give you the ultimate expansion, but I would dissuade you from doing that because it bogs the system down with comparing too many cells for duplicates. So if the range is not going to grow, lock it in. If not, give yourself a little bit of room for growth. While you're here, you may also wish to go over to the error alert and customize the error message that pops up if the user types in a duplicate value. So I've customized the title and the error message. We'll click OK. To test this, we'll go to PO number, type in something like 123, below it 1234, and then below that 123, and we get our message. Notice the customization of the error message. In the previous example, the detection range was fixed. This example will show us how to create a dynamically detected range. So if we only have items in the first 10 cells, the comparison will be limited to those 10 cells. But as we add more items to the list, the range detection will increase. This will require using two separate elements of Excel, a named range and data validation. This is the formula we will use to perform dynamic range detection. The unfortunate thing is we cannot place this formula inside a data validation custom field. But what we can do is place this formula in a custom named range and then use that named range in data validation instead. So to begin, we'll go to the Formulas tab. In the Define Names group, we'll click Name Manager. Then in the Name Manager dialog box, we'll click New. Let's give this named range a new name. Then in the Refers To field, we will delete whatever's in there and paste in our formula. You can copy-paste this formula from the notes in the download files. Click OK. Now we'll click Close. And that satisfies the first of two steps. Now, as before, you can select either the exact cells that this behavior should be assigned, or select the range of cells that you expect this list to grow to. For example, B2 through B1000. You're advised just not to select the entire column, as that will have to validate over 1 million cells every time. So if I were to select the range, say B2 through B2000, now I'll go up to the Data tab, Data Validation, set this to Custom, and in the Formulas field, paste this formula. Notice this COUNTIF function is examining the formula stored in the unique PO's named range, and it's applying that formula to every highlighted cell. We'll click OK, and it says we currently have an error. I have my suspicions, but I'm not entirely certain why it's saying this, but we'll continue anyways because this does still work. So we'll say yes. To test this out, I'll type in purchase order number 123, 1234, but then 123 again, and we get the error. I had applied the custom error message as I did before. Let's now apply this behavior on a proper data table. I have a table here named My Data, and I can see that because if I go up to the Table Design ribbon, I see My Data in the upper left corner. To have the no duplicates behavior on a data table field, we only need use the data validation feature. We won't need the named range component because range detection happens automatically with a proper data table. So just above the word PO number, I'll give it one click to select the PO number field. We'll go to Data, then Data Validation. I'll set this to custom, and the formula will be this. Notice inside of this formula, I'm using an indirect function, and many Excel users will object to the use of indirect because it's a volatile function. In other words, it recalculates every time anything in the workbook changes. In my testing, using indirect was the only way I could get this behavior to work. So if you know of a better way, please put it in the comments because I would love to know how to solve this problem without using the indirect function. But for now, this is what I have. We'll go over to Error Alert, customize our error message, click OK. To test it out, as before, PO number 123, 1234, but now 123, we detect an error. If this is a behavior you will use often, I've created some VBA code that you can use so with a push of a button, you can have all these behaviors put in place without having to juggle the nuances of the name manager and data validation. To show you how this works, I have a plain table like we started with. In my code, I have a pre-assigned range of 1,000 cells, and I'll show you in the code where you can customize this and make it whatever you want. But the idea is I could click in any cell in my little table here, go up to Assign by Cell, give it a click. It automatically assigns the cell to B2 through B1000 and displays this confirmation message. I'll hit OK. So to test this, 123, 1234, 123, we get the message. If you want to do this by column letter, just click anywhere in the column. We'll choose Assign by Column Letter, and then it asks for the column letter. I'll type in the letter G, hit OK, and it assigns this behavior to the first 1,000 cells of the table in column G. If you're working with a proper data table, click any cell in the column of the proper data table you wish to apply the feature. You can click Assign by Cell, and the validation message will confirm that it has applied this to this particular table in this particular column. To test it out, 123, 1234, 123, duplicate. To view the underlying code, hold down your Alt key and press the F11 key. This will open up the Visual Basic Editor. The code is located in this Modules folder on a module sheet called No Duplicate Validation. And if we double-click that, here is all the code. Now, luckily, you do not have to write all of this code because I've supplied all of this in an easy-to-import .bas module file. That file is also located in the file downloads link in the video description. Now, this code has been placed in this specific file, which means it only works when this file is open. If it were me, I would place this code in my personal macro workbook. And if you'd like a tutorial on how to import code and build launch buttons for macros located in the Personal Macro Workbook, check out this comprehensive video I put together on the use of the Personal Macro Workbook. Link in the video description. This video will show you how to import the code and build the launch buttons for the code. Earlier in the video, I said I was going to show you in the code where you can modify this to tell it exactly how many rows to apply the validation rule. Well, since the time when I made that statement, I had a thought on how to make this code even more flexible. So what I've done is I've modified this code so that it will actually prompt the user for a specific number of rows. That way this can be different every time that you use it, and you don't have to go in and tinker with any code. That change in the code is handled here. So this will prompt the user for how many rows they want, perform a little quality assurance check, and then apply that to a variable that gets used in the cell selection range. Now, you don't have to worry about any of this, but let me show you how the code will work. Here we are back in our test environment. If I click anywhere in the column where I want this behavior to exist, I just click Assign by Cursor Location. It assumes I'm going to start in row 2, but now it prompts us for the end range. And so I could put something like 10. Hit OK. It assigns the behavior. Now, to prove that this really worked, here I'm sitting in cell B6, which is one of those cells that got the behavior. I'll go up to Data Validation, and check apply these changes to all other cells, and we can see that this behavior exists on the first 10 cells of that column. I'll cancel. Same thing for column letter. I can be in any cell and choose assign by column letter. It will ask me for the column letter. In this case, I'll pick G, and then it will ask me for the number of cells, and I'll say 10. Assignment is made. If I click on one of those assigned 10 cells, go to data validation, click the apply changes, we can see the 10 cells selected. So within that 10 cell range, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, violation. If I go outside of the range, 1, 2, 3, no violation. So this will keep you from having to go into the code and change it every time you want to use it in a different situation. And that is how we can prevent duplicate entries from being entered in a data range. Remember to download all of these files from the link in the video description. And if you know of some better ways to do this, please put it in the comments because I'd love to improve this. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember, at BCTI, the learning never stops.